is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 8 of Clips and Dip. I am one of the three hosts. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Oslin. Will Updike is here as well. We're excited. Last week, if you missed it, we had Brian Seaman on. Such a good time. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, all those good places. Please review us. It helps us out. Today, we're going to be talking some fantastic new threads that Adam is wearing that you can see if you're watching us on YouTube, youtube.com/@Clippers podcast. There we go. We're going to be talking the new threads. The schedule came out for the Clippers, and I don't know what was worse, the schedule itself or the video to announce the schedule. And then we're going to talk Nic Batum retiring. We are all pretty sure after this Clippers season. But first, Will, before we get into Adam's fit, how are you doing today on this sweltering Friday afternoon?
I'm well.
All right, Will's in a great mood. Adam, who bought you these threads, and how excited are you to be wearing them on the pod?
Well, you put a bounty out on someone buying this for me for whatever reason. It was you, Will?
I did not offer any money. That's not a bounty. I just said someone should buy them.
I didn't do a goddamn thing.
But why? Why this apparel exactly? Because you thought it was so cool and I'd look like Bill Walton if I had this tie-dye shirt on that goes with everything?
Yes, let's go with that. That's exactly
nothing wrong with that.
What's up with that? Yeah.
I also have the shorts on. If you want to see a little booty shorts.
Oh wow!
I don't know,
man. YouTube
close enough to the camera here.
You're definitely way too close to the camera. The YouTube viewer, we're getting unsubscribes by the second. Who bought you those? Did you get their name? Can we give them a shout out?
It was our friend Aton, who is a big listener of Clips and Dip. Met him at a game once. He said it's the best podcast in existence, not just Clippers podcast. Universally, Joe Rogan, eat your damn heart out. We're taking over he gets a lot of listens, whatever you think.
I mean, he does.
Yeah, better for worse. But I don't know. I think this is going to get really popular now. This thing's going to sell more than the new Barbie movie, I'm sure, now that I'm wearing it.
I think you've set a trend, and I think we can all look forward to seeing an Intuit Dome full of people rocking the tie-dye.
I think it's supposed to be like a midriff thing, but it's an XL, but I don't know.
Go ahead and lift those arms up, buddy.
Lift the arms up?
Oh, is it women's size XL?
I don't know. It's definitely, you could see a little something there.
Hey, you get
That's a good fit.
Yeah, you get a pair of scissors. We can make that into a midriff, no problem. All right, let's talk about the second most important thing to happen this week for the Clippers. The schedule came out. And just as everyone, I think, kind of thought they would, they hate it. It's a terrible schedule. Brian Windhorst had some funny things to say about it. I'm going to run through the lowlights, and then we can try and figure out some highlights. So 15 back-to-backs, 23.
Is that double the amount that we had last year?
I think it's
the
just
same.
It's the same.
Oh,
it's the same. Okay.
Feels like double.
Sure, I'll take it. 25 3 games and 4 nights instances, which is the most in the NBA. 10 matinee home games.
Lovely.
Which is insane. 4 5 and 7s. A 7 and 11 stretch to close November and open December. 17 games in March, which for some reason is the most egregious thing to me. And then 8 games in the 14 days that the regular season has in April.
If I didn't look so damn beautiful right now, I'd be pissed.
I feel like the thing that's
for
whatever reason really sticking out the most to me is just this 4, 5, and 7s. 2 days.
We didn't have any of those last year.
There
were 0, 5, and 7s.
And the Clippers are essentially playing a quarter of their overall schedule in a single month.
Yeah. And a quarter of their home games at noon.
That's disgusting.
So it's terrible. This is the last year of having to share the stadium with 3 other teams. What are some highlights of the schedule? What are some easy parts of the schedule that we could maybe highlight? I'll tell you what, I've been looking at it for a couple days and I can't really find like a stretch. Maybe the start.
You were combing the desert like in Spaceballs. We ain't found shit.
Yeah, I had the big pick. Yeah. Because like the opening of a lot of people are saying like the first 10 games. You got Portland, Utah, the Spurs, Orlando for the first 4.
They need to go 10-3 in the first 13 games.
I know. Hey, Kawhi Leonard should be ready for training camp per Lawrence Frank. But
I
They
mean,
need to
he better
win.
be.
yeah, I'll take that.
They need to win 10 of the first 13 games. Brian Seaman touched upon it last week, but you look back historically, teams that win championships get off to fast starts. And the Clippers at least have the ability to do that with Portland, Utah, San Antonio, Orlando. Then the Lakers, that'll be tough. New York, Brooklyn, Dallas, Memphis, Denver. Okay, that's tough. Houston, San Antonio twice, so it eases up there. But I think they could start 10-3. That's a possibility if they handle their business. One of the few bright spots to me is just that if the regular season needed to get their attention for them to respect the regular season, this schedule will have to do that.
Big double bird right into the Clippers to say, pay attention to us.
Will said something a month ago that I scoffed at, that I now have to offer mea culpa to. Will said, and there was even a comment on it in our YouTube comment section, that he sees them as a play-in team. If they don't play to their capabilities and get up for this schedule, they very well could be a play-in team. They very well could finish 7th through 10th in the West if they don't take this more seriously this season. How am I the one wearing this and the only one that doesn't have a nickname yet?
We're getting there. The shirt is nice, but I mean, so that's a great point because I kind of wanted to talk, like, obviously way too early record predictions, but where are we at? So let's say they make the Harden trade with, you know, whoever is gone to make it work. We don't, if you've somehow been living under a rock, James Harden. Oh, wow. Adam just got the best nickname of all time. Crop Topsland is in the house. Go to YouTube to see these gems, folks. So say we make the Harden trade. Say it's Harden after he said that he will never be a part of Daryl Morey's organization twice in front of children just wanting to play basketball with him at his basketball camp in China.
No, he was asked a question. He was probed if you watched the thing. It was an instigation effort.
Where do the Clippers finish without James Harden? Say we just trade, we do the Brogdon trade, which they've already kind of talked about again after they failed to do it. Where's this team at if it's we swap Morris for Brogdon?
In trouble? No, I think.
I mean, I agree with you.
I don't know. How many games are Kawhi and Paul George playing? Can they both play 60 this season? I think everyone would sign up for that, right?
I mean, I'd sign up for it, but Will, what are you putting the chances they play 60?
Look, man, I think given the current trends with the roster as constructed right now, this team is fighting for 5 or 6, like at best case scenario.
As constructed currently, yeah. I totally agree. Adam, where are you at? Like, if they play 60 games, I'd be psyched, but I just don't.
When you're looking at win totals, you have to take into account that, and I know we say this every year, but I do believe the West is going to be even better, even just slightly better or more competitive, because Houston's not going to be as bad as they were last season. San Antonio with Wemby is not going to be as bad. Portland, I guess they could get worse and they could finish with a bottom 2 record.
Oh, I will say I'm terrified of opening night versus Portland. I'm terrified of it.
Is Dame going to be there?
Scoot's going to be there. That's all I don't know. It just feels like there's some stuff.
Funny you think Scoot has a vendetta? You guys didn't trade for me. It's like,
no,
dude,
not
chill.
that. I just think it's an opportunity to maybe not come out as strong as they need to on day one.
That can't.
And there's all the
happen.
narratives. I agree. I'm not saying it should.
After what was all the talking points this summer have been about respecting the regular season, and Coach Lou talking with the stars about it too, they have to get off and attack this schedule immediately and get off to a good start. Mm-hmm. There's just no room for error, because you look at the rest of the Western Conference. Memphis, I don't think they're going to be a 2 seed this season, and they're going to be without Ja for some time, but they're still going to be really good. And they've added good pieces. The Phoenix Suns now together with Kevin Durant for an entire year. Plus they added Bradley Beal. The Sacramento Kings are young and getting better. I don't know if they'll be a 3 seed, but they'll still be really good. A 3 seed is what they were last season.
They'll be in the range of what the Clippers are fighting for sure.
Golden State can be better than they were last year. I think the Lakers will be better. They're going to be jockeying for position for a top 3 seed. OKC might be in the running for a top 6 seed this year. I really believe that. If Chet is healthy, and he looked great blocking the living S out of everybody during the summer, but the Pelicans, if Zion plays 50-plus games, they're only getting better. You can't flirt with disaster and get off to a slow start. The easiest schedule or the most favorable part of the schedule might be the very beginning of the season. There's no time to figure it out. There's no time to tinker. There's no time to wait 10 games or 15 games with certain lineups. The Clippers have to go into this season. I'm not saying like the playoffs have already started, but with some desperation, with some urgency. Brian Siemens said it. They have to keep that competitive integrity every single night, regardless of who's playing.
And the way the season closes makes what you're saying even more important, right? The way we basically play a game every other day to close out the season. You got 17 games in March, and you got however many I said in April, 8 in the 14 days in April. So we're already like, the end of the season is going to be brutal for the Clippers.
And for people who think, oh, you guys complain.
Wise.
Yeah. For people who say you guys complain about the schedule every year. Well, for one, there's a reason for that.
No shit. Yeah.
Number 2, though, I didn't last season. I actually thought that was a more favorable schedule, even with them playing the most games ever before the All-Star break, because that meant they only had 21 after the All-Star break, and they'd have more time to figure things out before the playoffs and get more rests for their veterans. I thought that was a favorable schedule. Obviously didn't take advantage of it. Now they have 29 games after the All-Star break this season. So it could be trial by fire. It could be a blessing in disguise because they're going to be in a dogfight all season long from the beginning of the year with how difficult this schedule is, especially within the first month and a half. I posted that 14-game stretch from, I think, the middle of November through the start of December. Tough. With the in-season tournament being right in between. So there will be 2 more games at least in there. And it's a gauntlet. It is unforgiving. It's brutal.
Yeah,
we're talking Warriors 3 times, Kings twice, Denver Nuggets. They get Portland in there. Yeah. Couple back-to-backs, OKC, Boston, like the Pelicans. They got to exercise regular season demons.
Yeah. And the thing that's tough too is like Windhorse was on, I don't know whose pod it was, but he basically said the last 2 years of Clippers scheduling has been particularly bad because they're on the way out. So we're now, I don't even know how we could get lower priority than we already have at Staples Center, which the Kings own, by the way, for those of you who may not understand that. But
no, the Lakers fans always say Clippers paying rent.
Now,
oh no, you are too.
Now we are like a rung below ourselves. In terms of like, it's like the Clippers and then like the Clippers on their way out is where they are right now with the scheduling. So like we're getting absolutely no love, but it makes the Harden trade, because I don't know what other top tier talent the Clippers are even in the market for, which I guess is a good thing.
Have you considered the heart of Russ though, and what he brings to this team?
I'm ripping down the shelves.
Hey, they need Russ when you have a schedule like this. They really do. They need a guy who's going to be available hopefully every game.
I agree, but Russ is on the team. Let's talk about guys who we could add to the team because we need this help. It makes the Harden trade that much more important.
It is a team
for me now, right? Or am I wrong?
This is a hypothetical, and it's a little bit of a tangent. So I'll let you. I'll stop derailing the conversation after this, but. Is this team currently constructed, Russ starting point guard, one of Kawhi or PG out? Do you pick that team to win over the currently constructed Portland Trailblazers in a regular season game?
In one game?
Yes. They should still be much better defensively overall.
Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree.
I'd go 65% chance.
On theory, yes. In practice?
Well, no, on opening night. But Adam, do you think the schedule? Not that I don't think like the schedule release influenced how hard the Clippers are going to go for Harden, but I think it might change some fans' minds when it's like we need another guy who can sometimes, obviously not all the time, be the guy on that night.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something that the organization worries as much about or players talk about. I feel like there were some murmurs the last season talking about the schedule and how many games they had and how condensed it was before the All-Star break. So they're aware of it. Whether or not that puts more pressure on the front office to make a move to help raise the floor during the regular season, something certainly James Harden would be able to do, something Zach LaVine would be able to do, one of these other guys that we've brought up here on Clips and Dip over the last couple of months. I feel like there has to be some upgrade, or you're counting on Bones Highland taking a big leap, KJ Martin taking a big leap, so to speak.
The star of
Kobe Brown playing this season and being in contention for Rookie of the Year. Like, that's the type of stuff you're going to have to rely on to get through this regular season, I think, if you don't have a massive talent upgrade, or all of a sudden the stars are able to play 70-plus games, which we don't expect.
Well, I think it depends, but you bring up some interesting young names. I know development hasn't been a huge part of this era of the Clippers, really, ever. But if they want to extend their championship window, they're going to need some sort of Memphis youth resurgence. And I'm not saying that they'll hit the same highs, but a thing where, like, even with, your best player missing 30 games, you've got a team of good enough talent and young guys who are looking for an opportunity hard enough that you can remain competitive. And I think that's going to be a thing regardless of the Harden trade or not. I think that the future of this team's championship window beyond this season, which, look, man, I think that if they have a shot, if this isn't it, I don't know what is. But and that chance still isn't great. But if they want to extend that at all, they are going to have to figure out how to get more out of these younger players. They're going to have to get them bigger opportunities. They're going to have to draw plays and create rotations that are going to optimize these guys in ways that we haven't really seen. And I know that I don't expect Terrence to be back in the starting lineup. I don't expect us to return to something like that, but there needs to be a focus, especially if there's a stretch early where one of, like, Paul George and Kawhi is down, where we pivot the game plan to giving some of these guys bigger opportunities. And I'm not even saying that it'll always translate to wins in the short term, but there needs to be some sort of thinking beyond this season with the development of these players, or I think that window could already be closed.
So KJ Martin being in a contract year, I think really helps your argument, because KJ Martin's going to want to get paid, which makes total sense. Like, he's going to be, everyone knows in every sport, when it's the contract year, guys tend to show out. I'm not knocking anyone who does that, but, like, this is the chance for KJ Martin to get.
You have to. You're talking about generational wealth. Like, I mean, you're talking about.
Well, his dad was Kenny Martin, but yeah.
I mean, but, like,
no, I know
for yourself and your future. I mean, like, it's yeah.
He's a UFA, so, like, he can get offers from anywhere next year. So I'm hoping, since he was the only player available to film anything for the schedule release video, that KJ Martin, after he's done taking,
he's probably smiling. He's like, I'm gonna get a lot of playing time.
This is gonna rule. I gotta take this basketball to Chick-fil-A. Like, I'm excited for KJ Martin's year, more so after seeing the schedule. I can't really connect the dots why, but I think you articulated it pretty well.
Yeah, and Will, you kind of pointed to, it's not just the very young guys like Kenyon Martin Jr., like Bones Highland. It's a 27-year-old Terrence Mann, a 26-year-old Ivica Zubac. How do you bring the best out of them during this regular season? And what's interesting to me is, even getting James Harden now, if it puts more pressure on bringing in James Harden, I don't know. But I think in one way, it also means you can't give up too much for him, because you need to hold on to some of this depth, because it's going to be such a grind during the regular season. And James Harden might only be good for 60 games too, by the way. Mm-hmm. But, like, you really have to thread the needle and figure this out, because I don't know. This regular season, I don't see how it could be worse, this schedule, realistically. I mean, you could say they could play Denver 82 times. That would be worse. But realistically, I don't see how it could be much worse or be much more difficult of a road than it already is.
I totally agree. I guess it's good.
They don't. I mean, one benefit, they don't play Denver 4 times.
Bang bang. The Cactus Jack.
They're not in the Pac-12.
Yeah, they're not in
Or
the Pac-12.
The
That's
Pac
good.
Div, I should say.
Well,
Pac-12.
I'll tell you what, the Pac Div this year, we're gonna do a 3-hour special on how good the Pac Div is gonna be when we get closer to the season. But yeah, and now when we talk the Harden trade a little bit, it should probably be Harden and another player. We can't be giving up a 3-for-1 with the schedule. I mean, I'm not saying like PJ Tucker's like elite, obviously. I think most Sixers fans would love it if PJ Tucker got traded. But we can't just bring in just James Harden.
Oh, and they have to use all of their depth this season and put guys in a position to succeed. If Rocco's still on the team, even if there's a Harden trade, I think he's got to play. You're going to have to save legs.
Expand on this idea. What is this idea?
It's play Rocco, as the chant was at Crypto many times last season. Everybody wants to see him out there. There was the article. Was it Greif or Law Murray?
Law had the interview with me. Yeah. Shout out Law Murray. Friend of the
and
pod.
I guess he hasn't talked with Coach Lou since the season ended.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to take away from that.
I kind of have some. This is nothing against Law, obviously, who's fabulous. He's been on the show before. I kind of have. I feel like the way sometimes these things get framed is it's like there's some sort of rift in the organization, which could be the case. I'm not there. I haven't spoken to both of them. Haven't gotten them both in a room. You know, just a classic.
You haven't had a kiki with Ty and Rocco and Will?
No, not yet. But I feel like if you were to ask me on my 3-month vacation, if I had texted my boss, I'd be like, nah, man, we haven't talked since the Friday I left. Like, we'll probably talk when I'm back.
I can see that. Like, because what's Ty Lue gonna say? Like, I didn't play you. And, like, send a thumbs up emoji. Like, I don't know. Like,
I've drawn up some great sets with you as the guard.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, him only playing 40 games or being out on the court for 40 games this past season has saved his legs some. And if he is on the squad, they can use him, and he is a weapon like he was when he first came over from the Portland Trail Blazers. I mean, he still ended up shooting 39% on the season last year.
Marcus the starter
from 3
in the schedule?
How long is
decompose it?
Wait, let's get we're gonna do a quick ad break, and then I really do want to talk about the marketing. That's a great call. We have ads coming up. They've been too loud for you. Turn them down. Ads coming up in a couple. Again, catch us on YouTube so you can see Adam's fit. We got ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
All right, we're back in Eclipse and Dip. We've talked about the hell that is the schedule. We touched a little bit on the Harden trade, which is, one of the biggest what ifs surrounding the Clippers season. So I'm sure we'll come back to it. But right now, we're going to focus on some guys actually on the roster and one who may be leaving the roster after this season. But we teased it before the ad break. Let's talk a little bit about Marcus Morris. One of the most steep declines, I think, of a player, a non-star player to be sure, but
not
one
in
of
the rebounding department.
Yeah,
can't go from 0 to 0.
One of the wilder declines that we've seen. We see coaches all the time. You got to try to sometimes let guys shoot through it. Where are you guys at for his place in this lineup on opening night?
He has to be off this team for both parties involved. He is not having a good time, as evidenced as we talked about it when he's talked about Clippers fans on Instagram or whatever, which he's not completely wrong about. People are photoshopping.
Not completely off base on that.
Not completely off base.
But it's still not the way to go about it. Even if you could say it's justified with all the incoming he got, it doesn't make the situation any better.
Correct. But if people were photoshopping your face on Osama bin Laden and telling you that you suck at your job every day because the coach plays you too much.
I'm not saying those people aren't wrong. We've said it all season long. It would get
under your skin, though, is what I'm saying.
I know. I just don't know if it's the best way, unless it's somewhat of a power play to want to get out.
He wants to leave. I think it makes total sense for both. Like, it makes sense for both, even without the Clippers hate. It makes sense for both parties to end whatever's happening. Right? The Clippers need to get him off. They've literally already tried to trade him. And he doesn't like the mean part of the fan section. So, like, dude, if he's the starter on opening night, my belief is
could we see boos?
Nah, I don't think we'd see boos. If people are booing Marcus Morris on opening night, dude, I would
Oh, you will.
That'd be a
I
pretty
would have
severe.
an
you
issue,
will.
dude.
That'd be a
Not-
pretty
not-
severe heel turn for this fan base. I gotta
Dude, it'd
be
be
honest. with you.
horrible. That would be a
That'd
fucking nightmare. That would make
That'd be
this
some
fan base look
Lakers-esque
like shit.
behavior.
Yeah.
Not everybody, though, is going to understand the full context of why he said bum ass Clipper fans on Threads. I would expect some boos. If you say something like that, I would expect it because not everybody's going to know the big picture or care. Like, okay.
But also, in his defense, no one uses threads.
Yeah.
Well,
Adam,
Adam,
is
where are
towing
you
the
at?
line between bashing Marcus Morris and defending
Yeah.
him. This.
Adam, where are you at on this team's outlook if Marcus Morris is starting when we play the Portland Trailblazers? Like, we get to watch Scoot Henderson get the switch on him and then just go right by him?
I don't care. I just want to talk about Zuck the Cuck. No, I'm kidding.
Wait, do you want to box Mark Zuckerberg?
Threads is a
happening?
Facebook. It's a meta thing. I would just be shocked if he was still on the team opening night. That's my position on it. As things stand right now, that could change. Maybe there's a change of heart. There's a sit down. There's a conversation. But I just feel like it's an untenable situation.
I agree.
With Marcus
I totally
Morris.
agree.
I don't know how you mend fences here, especially because not just that and the Clippers fans and him talking on social media, he was traded. And then the trade
He was literally
nixed.
right.
And I don't know if he's the guy that's going to be okay with that, knowing that the team wanted to get rid of him. That doesn't seem to be in
No.
his personality.
Yeah, which is fair also. Like, you'd be
Sure.
like, dude, you're already trying to get me to go. Like, move me for something. But he's got to be off. Off the team sounds so, like, I'm not saying cut him, but like, he can't be starting for the Clippers on opening night.
Especially when we talk about trying to get younger and having some infusion of youth. And I know you can say Batum and Rocco are older, but you have Amir Coffey, you have KJ Martin, guys who can conceivably play the 3 and the 4 some, and Kobe Brown. How do you do that if you have so many of these veteran guys?
Who do you guys want to see at the 4 opening night?
I want to
Assuming
see
roster stays as it is because we can't predict the future, obviously.
Kawhi.
I mean, I can, but I choose not to.
God damn it. You want to see Kawhi at the 4?
If that means Terrence Mann is in the starting lineup in the backcourt next to Russ, yeah.
Interesting. I like that idea. I was going to say
if
Kawhi
it
too, but I didn't have a real reason other than maybe someone else is at the 2. I don't think it'll be Terrence, but I don't know.
So you guys want to get a little smaller.
Anyone but Morris, I guess. As rough as that is, but I don't know. Will, who do you want to see at the 4? Plumlee? Run Plumlee and Zoo together, huh?
The dream. Too big.
Plumzuli. No, I don't know. The Clippers are in such a weird place right now. What is Harden's trade value? Daryl Morey is apparently unmoved by what he said because Daryl Morey, anyway. But
did Joel Embiid take Sixers off of his bio on Twitter?
Yeah, he took Philadelphia out.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
processing.
I don't think that's some type of empty threat.
You're saying trade for Embiid.
If you can. But I'm saying Embiid is
yeah,
the next shoe to drop. If they lose James Harden, if they don't get something significant back, Embiid's going to want out. He already made the comments that whether I win with the Sixers or somewhere else, he knows it's about his individual legacy at the end of the day as a player. He would go anywhere to win a championship. It doesn't matter. I'm sure he'd love to do it in Philly, but
yeah, he is the process. He's the only
so
part
I
of the
talked about
process
this a little bit when Joey Lynn was here, but I think like that realization, if you're the Sixers and that like possibly, not even possibly, the future of Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP, it depends on your return or lack thereof from the Harden trade. I think that takes the Clippers fully out of the mix, man. Like unless there's a third team involved, like we do not have the assets to get it.
You mean like throw the kitchen sink like Norm, Terrence,
Terrence, the 2 picks, like and whatever salary you have to fill in, like is that a championship contender in the East? Like I don't know, man. I personally don't really see it.
You're onto something. I think you might be onto something.
I wonder if they would try to redirect things then to bring in somebody else, because that's something Daryl Morey said. Either we get a star or we get assets
I said
that
with
can
the
get us a star.
caveat. I said with the caveat, like without a third team, I do not see a way where the Clippers can really get involved in a serious way.
But how bad could it get if
I don't know, man. I didn't think it would get to the point where Harden's like, he's a liar. He's a liar.
If he's not even showing up and takes the fines, aren't you just better off trading him for anything?
What if he shows up and is just a goddamn nightmare?
Well, he was at the end of his tenure with Houston. He was dogging it on the court, and he was calling them out post-game. Nobody's better at this than James Harden. He knows how to play his hand in these situations.
It's a quagmire. Like both sides are stuck. And it's a nightmare situation for everyone but James Harden, really, because he opted in, so he's good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Philly knows that Joel Embiid isn't going to sit out games if they lose James Harden. He's still going to play. Yeah. He's still the reigning MVP. He'll be trying to compete. I don't know how long that promise from Daryl Morey would go with him of, hey, this summer, Tobias Harris is coming off the books. We'll be able to rebuild things. I wasn't here when they let go of Jimmy Butler for Tobias Harris. That's not on me. The other thing, though, that I could see happening is to keep Harden. What if ownership stepped in and said, okay, Daryl, you're out? That you were the one who reneged on the deal or didn't keep your promise. We need James Harden to be happy because it's a players' league and we have the MVP and Joel Embiid. That's more valuable than having Daryl Morey. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking over there, but I would say everything should be on the table when you're talking about making Joel Embiid happy. He's still in the prime, in the middle of the prime of his career.
I like that take of like, what if they're just like, we're going to get a new GM?
Elton Brand was the GM there anyways. Yeah. Maybe they blow the whole thing out, but conceivably, he could just slide right back into the role he was in.
It's not like, I think without a massive change, I think it's difficult to repair the relationship. I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's an impossibility though, if you're willing to go that drastic.
Yeah, like if you have the meeting,
James have to be like, damn, okay, they did that for me.
They fired the GM for me? Like, yeah, if you can make James Harden believe that it was for you and not for Joel Embiid, that would be a great call on the Sixers' part.
Oof. I like Daryl Morey. I do think he's a good GM. It's hard to know exactly who to believe in these situations, but I don't think James Harden took $11 million less last year for no reason. I don't think it was just the goodness of his heart to get PJ Tucker in there. Something had to have been said.
So, of course, like that. I mean,
and for him to turn on the guy that brought him in from OKC and made him and believed in him being one of the great scorers in NBA history, for that relationship to go this sour, it must be pretty bad behind the scenes between him and Daryl Morey. That was a partnership forever. And he wanted to go to Philly because of him. So there's some smoke there. It's not out of the blue or just Harden being Harden.
And the players support him. PJ Tucker, who's on his team, had like a supportive Instagram post.
That's what made me start to think, if they all turn on him, like, couldn't Daryl Morey be the one whose head is on the chopping block?
I mean, it's certainly, like, from a Sixers perspective, seems like an easier prospect to fire a GM than potentially try to deal to, like, franchise stewards.
Yeah. One of which, like, who just won the MVP. Like, damn. Well, hopefully we get some kind of update on it soon. I hope the trade happens sooner rather than later. If we get lazy Harden at the trade deadline, I'm not super hyped, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Speaking of crossing bridges, Nic Batum's going to retire after this season?
Where'd this come from?
So Lily Batum, I'll rock it, bro. I got the whole timeline. If you read the breakdowns for once,
I'm just trying. I'm the audience.
So
we lost you, or I did.
Am I back?
Wants to fight Zuck. He's here.
Cool. So Lily Batum posted a clip. Lily Batum is Nic Batum's wife, of Greg Popovich, and someone commented asking if that would be the future for Nico. Like, would Nico get coached by Greg Popovich? And Lily Batum replied, for that, he would have to continue in the NBA. And that is absolutely not on the program. Sorry or not. This French person replied, Nico does not want to end his career in the NBA. Lily Batum replied, Nico decided to end his career, NBA and EDF, which is the French national team, after the Olympics. So this is his last season with the Clippers. So per his significant other,
I trust Lily Batum.
I'm going to say in this situation, I'd probably trust Lily Batum. This sucks. It's not completely unexpected. He's played a lot of basketball. These, with what happened with the Olympics, or what was that block he had? That was like the greatest play. Yeah, on Luka.
That was last year during the Worlds.
Yeah. So he played in the Worlds. He's playing another, kind of for the FIBA World Cup with France. It's not totally unexpected, but kind of sucks, right?
He's going to be 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love the Batums. He was a godsend when the Clippers got him. And it worked both ways. He said they saved him. I mean, he hadn't been playing in Charlotte at all, and it rejuvenated his career. It was just a perfect match, hand in glove for Batum in this organization. And the fans embrace him. Batum Battalion, as you said. He's one of my favorite players to watch because he's been their Draymond. He does all the little things. I still think he plays at a really high level. A lot of people have talked about his fall off last year. He still shot 39% from three. I know it was up and down and streaky, but he still shot 39% from three. And I saw him lock up Kevin Durant on multiple possessions in that first round series. And didn't he have a great second half to game 5 when they were down big? The threes were raining from Nicholas Batum to help get them back into that game. He's clutch.
Yeah. So he was a little inconsistent last year, but yeah, he's part of the identity for the Clippers.
Batum to me is one of those guys too who would benefit so much from a resurgence of the young guys, just a little bit less of a dependence. Obviously, he's been moved in and out of the starting lineup. I don't think that's really his place anymore. I really don't think at his age and what he's expected to do in terms of glue, he's really even an 82 game guy anymore. But I think some of the load being taken off of him and being able to, even when he's on the court, have a little bit more in-game rest and certainly have younger guys step up. Martin would be huge. I think that I'm not saying that he should ultimately change his mind or anything, but I do think that could end things on a very good note for Batum. If we were able to reserve him a little bit more for when he's best and he's able to be in the best shape and with as little fatigue as possible, when we get late into the season.
You mentioned the mentor thing, which is really awesome because I think Batum with KJ Martin. You look at how good Batum is at cuts and all this stuff. Batum, if he wants to, I'm not saying he has to or anything, if he decides to kind of mentor KJ Martin, it could really help KJ Martin's game in a contract year. Sure, and Musa. I don't think he'll get a bunch of playing time with the first team, but all right.
But the French connection.
Musa starting 4?
Yeah. Let's go back to that question. But I think you're right, Will. I think Batum has a chance to leave a bigger impact than he already has on the Clippers. I thought he brought really a nice identity when the Batum Battalion was going off, all that stuff. It was this is a role guy we can all rally around because he plays smart and he makes strong defensive plays when he can. That's the identity for the Clippers that I like that Batum brought. But I hope we send him off on a good note.
I mean, you could say something was born when they brought in Nicholas Batum in that training camp in 2020. What, guys?
When has something not been born? What is the thing for something to not be born?
When it dies?
Yeah. What do we? Do we
watch Oppenheimer?
Yeah, great movie.
It was great.
Better than 65.
Slightly.
Do we? And then some other random Clipper news. Zoo is playing in Olympic qualifiers for Croatia, which is great. I think international basketball in the offseason, Zoo is the best version of Zoobots. And we had a good start to the season. We talked about having to rely on some people. Let's rely on the Iron Man a little bit in this incredibly shitty schedule we have, right? Not
Now-
crazy, but I'm not saying he's option one, but hey, give the big fella some more touches.
Well, now that they have Mason Plumlee for
Sure.
coming into this season, a
Showtime
legitimate backup, I think Ivica Zubats can either pace himself more because he might play less minutes, or
you gotta find us on
Will's
YouTube
gone wild.
if you want to.
If I could read, I bet this was a weird name tag. But no, you can say ride Ivica Zubats, but we saw what happened with the fall off in play, and maybe it was injury related. He was banged up a little bit, actually
He
missed some
hates to
games
not
last
play,
season.
yeah.
But from the start of the season, he was the reason they had that top 5 defense the first couple of weeks. It was all Big Zoo anchoring that. His effort was spectacular. We were joking like defensive player of the year, Big Zoo, or maybe I brought it up a few
Were
different
we
times.
joking about that? I think you were joking about that.
Could he and Musa win it this year? That's crazy.
Googling if you can have code DPOYs.
But yeah, I just want to make sure, even, it's not just about preserving your older guys sometimes. If you have a chance, because Mason Plumlee's there, to take a little bit off of Big Zoo and what he's responsible for, you may get better effort or better energy or more energy out of him in the minutes he is out there on the court because he's more well rested.
Yeah. Less minutes for Zoo now. Good thing. I like that call. That about kind of wraps up this Friday episode. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about Clippers sphere wise? We don't want to. I mean, Adam, I know you can't say anything, but Will, what did you think of the schedule release video?
I hate the schedule.
Oh, the schedule is terrible.
I didn't watch the video.
Well, if you want to see KJ Martin drive a basketball to Chick-fil-A, you should watch it. Very weird.
That's a good
He's
video.
playing the
I'm glad they
Nuggets.
didn't do the rolling a jar or bottle down some stairs.
That was bad. The Bulls had a great one. It was Pokemon themed. It was very good.
The NBA the NFL really crushes it with these, and I feel like that's one area where they have kind of one upped the NBA on the old social media experience.
100%. All right, we're gonna be back next week. Hopefully, we're gonna have someone from the Philly side to talk about some of this Harden stuff. Those guys are hard to get a hold of. It's that damn time change.
Brotherly love my ass.
All right, Adam's taking shots at the whole city. I'm with it, dude.
We're getting them on now.
Bro, you get this guy a crop top. He's unhinged. All right, we're gonna be back next week. Reviews really help us. We appreciate them. Will, where can these wonderful people find this podcast if they want to tell their family that they have to listen to it?
So you can check us out over on iTunes or Spotify. Those are the best places to leave a review, which really helps the show out. You can also listen to us on Google Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Stitcher. We're on Deezer. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the show. Check us out over on YouTube. We do some fun stuff. We mess around with the names on the recording. We have a good time over there. You can also chop it up with us anytime. That's over at Clippers Pod on Twitter. We're still there till the thing burns down. Adam, why don't you go ahead and send us off?
I'll tell you something that's burning, that's fire right now. It's this midriff tie-dye shirt I got. Thanks again for everybody who listens. Maybe this could be our new thing, new rules. If you send it to me and it's Clippers related, I'll wear it.
That's 100% a new rule. That is canon
rule.
Now. That's the rule. If
it's appropriate.
No.
I mean, I want real skin. I just don't want like a F this player shirt or anything like that.
Okay, it has to be. Call it. Should we call it licensed Clippers gear?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Why
I
not?
wouldn't go that far.
How far?
Doesn't have to be official.
Doesn't have to be. Okay, doesn't have to be official. If you send Adam a Clippers apparel,
it can't be derogatory of the Clippers or a player.
Yes.
Or obviously nothing racist, homophobic, anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Make it derogatory towards me. That's different.
Yeah,
bro,
it can be derogatory towards any one of us.
Adam is opening up some doors for this thing. If you send it, Adam will wear it, much like Field of Dreams, but a little more important. We thank everyone for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let's go Clips.